Right. Good evening, everyone. Before we get officially started with our meeting, I'd like to take 30 seconds for a moment of silence. Our district is mourning, and there are family members who are mourning. So out of respect to them, we will take this time. We also have plans to do something maybe a little bit more formal towards the end of the year. So at this time, bow your head, keep your eyes open. Let's have a moment of silence. Thank you so much for your patience. I appreciate it. At this time, I'd like to call to order the Rapid City Area School Board of Education regular board meeting. Thank those of you that are here, those of you that are watching live, and those that will be watching later on. Shirley, can we get a roll call, please?
Troy Carr.
Here.
Jamie Clapham.
She's on the way.
Okay. Christine Stephenson. Here. Donna Moore. Here. Michael Berkland.
Here.
Walt Swan.
Here.
Katie Urban.
Here.
Amelia Schaefbauer. Arabella Scott. And Maricel Barantas.
All right. Those of you that are not standing, I'd ask everyone else to stand in for our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, I will entertain a motion to approve the proposed agenda.
I'll motion.
Second. It's been moved and seconded to approve the proposed agenda. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. Right. Sharing the success.
Good evening, board members and all in attendance. As you can see, we've got a little livelier atmosphere tonight. So it's great to have some opportunities to share success around our district. So first of all, we're going to bring forward our Rapid Valley Student Leadership Team. If they would just find their way over here, Ms. Boltall, if you'd kind of navigate them there. So the Rapid Valley Student Leadership Team is the result of the 23-24 student survey. A student focus group was formed to review survey results where 4th and 5th grade teachers recommended one student from each class to share their thoughts, concerns, and wishes with Mrs. Bryan and Ms. Foltz Hall. They expressed how they wanted to set goals, have expectations taught throughout the year, stop bullying, create initiatives, and host spirit weeks. Administration was impressed with their willingness to share concerns, but also had ideas on how to improve their experience at RVE. The students asked to be a part of the changes administration wanted to make. The student leadership team began to meet weekly, guided by Ms. Foltz Hall. The students started with creating Spirit Week for the entire school. They created posters and advertised the Spirit Week, and the hallways were filled with laughter. During December, Rapid Valley students made Christmas cards that were delivered by the student leadership team to the residents in 2 nursing homes. The residents were thrilled to receive the cards and have the students entertain them with Christmas songs. Rapid Valley PTA supplied Christmas card materials for the classrooms and lunch for the leadership team when they delivered the cards. In February, the student leadership team made Valentine's Day cards and completed crafts during their next visit. So spreading kindness is a big part of Rapid Valley Elementary. The student leadership team wanted to share it with the community by sharing student-created kindness stickers. Rapid Valley PTA supplied sticker materials to the students, and then they started by giving an encouraging speech to each classroom before the students decorated their stickers. To determine where the stickers would go, the student leadership team made phone calls to coffee establishments, Starbucks on Eglin Street, Scooters, and Fancy's Coffee Truck were excited to share the kind of stickers with their customers. And as a coffee lover, great job. The student leadership team wants to be involved in their school and community. They supported Suckers for Elena by making posters and selling the suckers. During Christmas, they helped PTA pass out cookies to every student. Rapid Valley has Fun Ticket Friday, part of the PBIS initiatives that we have, that is managed by the student leadership team. They also help with monthly assemblies supporting conscious discipline and student of the month. They're working on saying thank you to our local fire station and sheriff department. The team would like to create a community garden. Our fifth grade students on leadership team are eager to take their leadership skills to East Middle School next year. So I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Bryan to introduce the team here and share anything else that you would like to share.
All right, so I'm going to read their names. Not all of them are here, but we do want to recognize them. So Adeline Hill, Morgan Davis, Liam Cebu, Remington Max, Noah Saley, Zane Gannigan, Uriah Hurley, Victor Kaiser, Nova Blodgent, Devin Eller, Raylan Harrington, and Molly Udy. And Mrs. Fultall, we can give a lot of thanks to her. She's done all the work on this. I just said yes to most of it, and she did all the work on it. I'd also like to thank our fourth grade teacher who's here tonight. She put all the work in and made the shirts for them. So Miss Graham, our fourth grade teacher, made the shirts for our student leadership team. I can't wait to see what they continue to do as a team.
Okay, great. Come on, picture.
Before they get a picture.
So we're going to take a quick picture here.
They want to pass out
Oh,
stickers to the
sorry.
board. Sorry, I should have mentioned that. That's my bad. I apologize.
Wonderful, thank you. All right. And as you all have seen, if there are any parents you still want to take more pictures, you're welcome to come around.
Take a picture, just slide over.
Hi, Jamie.
Come on in. Can't have kids without pictures. Right, and before you all dismiss, we have some board members that would like to address you. Mrs. Stephenson.
Yeah, I wanted to say congratulations. I want to really thank you. Thank you for the sticker and thanks for coming in. I have this theory that most people really want to support their community and do something good for their community. And I'm so grateful. It sounds like you guys have given the whole rest of the school the opportunity to do something good. It takes leadership to get good things going in your community. And I also want to thank your teachers and your principal because that you gave them the opportunity to do good and here they go. They're doing good. It's just a great example for all of us. So thanks a lot.
All right, Ms. Urban.
I'm just so impressed by how busy and how much you guys have been able to get done. That is so impressive. I love the stickers too. And Rapid Valley is one of my favorite schools to visit. You can just feel the positive culture when you walk in, and I'm sure that has a lot to do with all the work that you guys have been doing this year. So I'm so glad that you are getting the chance to lead. It's such important work, and I'm very proud of you.
All right. I love the sticker, but I love the t-shirts even more. So whoever's selling them, size medium, and I will make sure that I purchase one. So thank you all again. You did a wonderful job. Okay, we may be dismissed now. Thank you so very much. Yeah, I meant to say that to them before. There you go.
Thank you. Board for next sharing the success, we have our student volunteers of the semester. So I think I'm gonna have all three come forward. So if Brady, Ioana, and Tyler, if you guys wanna join me up here. So I'm gonna read a little bit. First of all, for Brady Zander, he is a dependable presence in the school community, always willing to step in and help wherever he is needed, whether assisting with the Feeding South Dakota School Food Pantry, organizing donations for the RCAA clothing closet, or supporting classmates in and out of the classroom. Brady consistently contributes without seeking recognition. His willingness to do the work, no matter how small or behind the scenes, ensures that important resources reach those who need them the most. Rather than taking the spotlight, Brady leads by example through his steady and respectful approach to service. He supports his peers, helps maintain an inclusive and welcoming environment, and demonstrates what it means to be a true team player. His dedication has made a lasting impact, reinforcing the idea that meaningful contributions don't always come with recognition. They come from a genuine desire to support others. So for his consistent reliability and commitment to serving his community, Brady is well deserving of the Student Volunteer of the Semester recognition, and Brady is from RCAA. Ioana is an amazing young leader that serves in a variety of volunteer and leadership roles within the community. She is currently the chair of the Youth City Council, where she supports many youth-led efforts and committees. She has volunteered at the past two harvest festivals and provided a veggie tie dyeing project at the event this fall. She was also selected to serve on the National League of Cities Youth Education and Families Council, where she promotes authentic youth voice and represents South Dakota in her volunteer position. Ioana has also helped with the school food pantry, a municipal league welcome night at Main Street Square, a community night out, and the Tough Enough to Wear Pink campaign. Ioana has served on the Youth City Council for 3 years, and each year her community service engagement increases. Last year, she volunteered over 85 hours to various community organizations and city initiatives. She is well on her way of doubling that this year. Because of her servant leadership, she was also selected to serve on a national platform. She currently serves on the National League of Cities Youth Education and Families Council as one of only 4 delegates selected nationwide. Anyone is from Stevens. I didn't point that out right away. Tyler Barker from Central. During this school year, Tyler has participated in more than 25 separate volunteer activities that total nearly 60 hours of service. Through the junior ROTC, Tyler has helped staff athletic events, supported Rapid City's Red Ribbon Week, participated in 2 holiday food drives, supported the VFW's Boots on the Ground clothing drive, raised money for nursing scholarships, and staffed Storybook Island's Christmas Nights of Light. Through the NHS, Tyler took the opportunity to participate in additional food drives with Feeding South Dakota and helped with other holiday food and toy drives. Through his church, Tyler spent many mornings setting up audio and visual equipment for services. Finally, Tyler also takes time to participate in volunteerism through the Rapid City Fire Department, going for ride-alongs with emergency services as they provide life-saving assistance throughout Rapid City. Tyler's wide variety of volunteer activities have helped thousands across Rapid City, whether through advocating a drug-free lifestyle, providing direct food and clothing assistance, or just making the holidays a little more special. Tyler recently was inducted into the NHS and served as a team captain for the JROTC Varsity Raider Challenge Team, and he plans to enlist in the South Dakota Army National Guard and become a firefighter. So thank you, Tyler. All right, so as our volunteers, anything you want to add, or why don't you come on up? Where's, there, Ms. Canta, Mr. Lundin, why don't you come up, and I've got some awards for you all here. Brady.
All right, smile this way for pictures.
And don't move till your parents are done.
Yeah. And don't move till the board would like to have some words to address. Ms. Clapham.
As you can see, I had to speed in from another parent, but I just want to say, so many times I hear, oh, the world and kids these days and teenagers these days, and and you guys are the reason that I know that we're gonna be okay. And I am so appreciative of you, of the example that you give. You know, one of my favorite quotes is, you have to be the change you want to see in the world, and you are doing it every day. And I mean, you are shining across the nation, and that's absolutely incredible. We as a board are so proud of you, and thank you for every single thing you do. It is appreciated.
I thought I was busy, but I'm gonna stop complaining about being busy after hearing all the things that you all do. I'm not saying anything else. Congratulations and thank you so much for serving. Appreciate it. One more time. All right, you may go. You may be dismissed. That sounded kind of rude. You may go. Leave me.
You are dismissed.
Bye. Okay.
Farewell.
All right, I need another word. All right, this time we have two open forums. Ms. Hagel. Yes, right up to the mic. It should be on. And you have 5 minutes.
I am just here because.
Just one moment. We're recording, so that's why we need to have it on.
Is this good?
It's not, Shirley's coming to turn it on.
Thanks, Shirley. I am here for something that might seem a little bit silly, but it's not silly to me. I understand that after school gets out this year, our teachers have to go back after kids are done and spend 2 more days in the classroom. And it doesn't affect me, but I've been a teacher and in high school and at college. And it is my understanding that the state requires 158 days of students in the classroom. Is that right? Or is it 168? I can't remember now. And our teachers generally teach 181 days. But we had 2 school days called off in spring for cold weather. It's my understanding that diesel buses, and I do understand that because I grew up on a farm with diesel vehicles, they gel up and they don't want to go when it's cold. But I kind of gel up and I don't want to go when it's cold either. But so we had 2 school days off that were not because of anything the teachers did. And they're going back to school for 2 days to satisfy their contracts. And I understand contracts too. But I also understand that you're not going to pay more or less to have them come back for those 2 days, right? And so you could show them the respect and gratitude of forgiving those days. Go have vacation. You worked hard all year and they work hard. They educated my children. One was a blue ribbon. One didn't get a ribbon, but he graduated. And I have appreciated every minute that my kids spent in these classrooms. And if you ask anybody on my team at work, if I want more money, But if I want a damn day off, all of them would tell you, give her the day off. And that's all I can say. Thanks for your time.
Thank you very much. Next is Ms. Thompson. You have 5 minutes.
Thank you. I'm not going to take 5 minutes. My name is Florence Thompson. I'm president of South Dakota Parents Involved in Education. I'm also a retired school psychologist with over 40 years experience in the schools as a psychologist. I'd like to talk a little bit about the closing of USED, the U.S. Department of Education. President Trump has already issued an executive order to close the department. And there are several bills working their way, being presented in Congress that will finalize this. They will put the meat on the bones sort of thing to how this will turn out. My organization, U.S. Parents Involved in Education, we've been watching these bills carefully, and there are, it's just going to be up in the air as to what will happen as far as the details. But the intention is to give the control to the states. And so that hopefully will give you all more control over what your program is. So depending on how our state goes, hopefully we'll get an improvement in our programs and we'll be able to serve kids even better. So the money is going to be handed down to the states. I think there's going to be plenty of money. So I think it will be good times for education. So I hope that you guys will all keep track of what's going on, and hopefully when we get out through this transition period, we'll have to get to work in the state and figure out what our programs are going to be like. Thank you.
Thank you. Board response to open forum. I think I just would like to comment about snow days, because I've received several emails from those that disagree. I would say that I think the decision to add the 2 days was made thoughtfully, purposely, and in no way for me describes not having appreciation for all the work that teachers do throughout the day. So I know there's disagreement. Again, I just, it was a thought out decision. And I know it was something that we hadn't necessarily done in the past, but I just want to support the decision of our acting superintendent. So, Ms. Clapham.
2 really quick things, and I'm very careful about certain things, but just want to clarify. I know there's a lot of discussion about the Department of Education, and obviously this board will function, and whatever decisions are made, we will proceed accordingly because that is our job. I will say one, I think we as a board also aren't getting the cart before the horse, because it takes a 60% Senate vote to eliminate any department. So until that happens, we don't want to function in a reality that may or may not be true. So we have to be very cautious in that. And I also just want to put out and applaud our states, our standards, our teaching requirements. All of those are determined by the states and have always been determined by the states. I think sometimes there's some misunderstanding about what is federally determined and what is state determined. And South Dakota decides what our social studies standards are. South Dakota decides how many days, how many hours, so much of that is already at the will of the state anyway. So I just think it's important for everybody to understand what actually is in the control of the Department of Ed and what is in control at the state level. The other thing I would say is, as President Cart said, the makeup days are complicated, and I understand for many a very personal and meaningful subject. It is the discretion of our administration. I think that I can see in the future as a board for us to plan our calendar with built-in snow days acknowledged farther in advance, I think would be beneficial to our staff. And I think one of the things as a board, to be a good board and a good board member is to learn from the past and learn how to make things better. And so I think that's one thing that we can discuss in the future. But I do believe that, as President Carr said, that our administration makes very, very thoughtful, very purposeful decisions that they're making it for the best of students. And that is always our ultimate goal, is to do what is best for our students.
Thank you. Ms. Urban?
I also just wanted to respond briefly to the snow days, and I also recognize that the decision was made with students in mind. I believe the administration acted with the best intentions and the best interest of the district. That said, moving forward, I plan to advocate that decisions around whether or not snow days are made up be brought to the board for a vote, since the board is responsible for approving the calendar. I believe it makes sense for us to be part of the conversation as well.
Dr. Strasser, you are not one of the 7 board members, but out of the kindness of my heart. Oh, you don't want to comment, because I was going to ask you to comment. You'll comment later. Okay, all right. Any other board members? All right. At this time, we'll have our student representatives, Mrs. A. Schaeff-Bauer.
All right, good evening, everybody. First off, I want to say thank you to the Rapid Valley kids for this amazing sticker. It's very, very pretty, and I will wear it for forever. Never washed this shirt. Also, huge congrats to Tyler Barker, the Central Volunteer of the Semester. That's an amazing accomplishment, and I'm really happy that he was here tonight to be honored. So then going into the script I had written, Central's had a great couple of weeks. To start off, all students not graduating have signed up for classes for next year. Those who are graduating have had all college decisions come out, even Ivy Day, which was super crazy. I'm excited to see where everyone got into in our award ceremonies for seniors later this year. Really amazing accomplishments all around. And speaking of seniors, we have received the cum laude reports, which includes 30 seniors in cum laude, 30 in magna cum laude, and 50 in summa cum laude. This is an amazing accomplishment and goes to show just how high achieving our students at Central are. Also, congrats to just anybody who's graduating. I think there's going to be a little over 300 students graduating in 2025 from Central. So that's just amazing to get through high school and to get that diploma. So congrats to everybody graduating. Central also hosted a national recognition night to support those taking the next step in their education. This event was partly made possible by the American Indian College Fund, or the AICF grant, which focuses on increasing FAFSA completion and college enrollment rates for Native American students. So far, 12 students have officially committed to colleges, with many more on the way. So that's an amazing thing, hoping to promote more people actually applying to college and getting in. That's just an amazing thing to see. Higher education, I'm sure the board members here today would say college is probably a pretty good thing. So amazing to see that. Test results are also coming back, with many juniors receiving over a 25 on their ACT, with some even earning over a 30. NCRC scores for seniors have also come out, and most students got a silver level or above. Tomorrow and Thursday this week, juniors will be taking the SBAC test, and I wish them all good luck. That test is not the best to take as a student, but it's really worth it for the students to actually get that education and take those tests to see where their skills kind of lie. In other academic news, our AP Gov classes have been getting to see many aspects of local government. On March 20th, South Dakota Congressman Dusty Johnson visited Central and presented to students in these classes. Students were encouraged to ask any questions, and from what I've heard, they received many insightful answers into how government actually works. Last week, the classes also went on a field trip to Black Hills State University to observe South Dakota Supreme Court justices and see them argue for 3 real cases. These both seem like an amazing experience, and I'd love to give a huge thank you to Mr. Mays, our AP Gov teacher, for making this all possible. In activities news, we have nothing. April Fools. We have prom coming up this weekend on April 5th, and many people planning to attend. Also, a huge congratulations to our national champions. The Rushmore Thunder Boys Varsity are the 2025 USA Hockey High School 2A national champions. Say that 3 times fast. But that's absolutely amazing. I just talked 2 weeks ago about them winning South Dakota State. So now they won the national tournament in their division. The 6 Central players who helped make history as the first high school hockey team to win nationals from South Dakota are Colton Merchant, Cam Ritter, Mason McGregor, Brixton Steen, and Ian Jensen. Huge congrats to them. Oh, and also Wyatt Simmons. Also, a big congrats to our students who made it into All-State Jazz Band and Show Choir. These include Ben Long, Jaden Peterson, Weston Raspin, Bodie Lindy, Sage Butler, Roman Spiller, Blaine Lehman, and Camden Walker. Huge congrats to them as well. Then in wrestling, we had 3 freestyle state champions, including Matea Jacobs, Anna Heinstein, and Adrian Goodiron. There were also 5th placers in this category, including Luther Morrison and Ethan Horton. Pierce Hurd also became a national All-American for placing 5th in the nation at a competition in Virginia Beach. So huge congrats to all of the wrestlers, all of the All-State Jazz Band members, and those national hockey winners. Overall, we've had an amazing activity season so far. Congrats to the sports players, academic team members, state champions, and national champions alike. And once a cobbler, always a cobbler.
That's right. Oh, what an awesome report. Board members, any questions or comments about that report? I do have a question. Can you keep your ACT scores when you take it as a junior? You can. Wow. Okay. All right. Thank you for that. All right. At this time, Ms. Scott.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I was gonna say happy April Fool's Day and maybe try to prank you, but Amelia beat me to it. So, to start, the Stevens boys tennis team kicked off their season this past week, as I had mentioned at the last meeting, and they've gotten off to an amazing 4-0 start. On Thursday, they defeated Aberdeen Central High School, 8-1, Roncalli 9-0, Pierre 9-0, and Yankton 5-4. Yankton's a huge win for us, so we're very proud of that. And I'm sure that this is just a start of an amazing season. Next, this Saturday, April 5th, is the Stevens Central Rapid City Alternative Academy prom at the Monument. It's Great Gatsby theme, right? Yes. And the dance starts at 7 p.m. and formal attire is required. Tickets can be bought at the doors or at least at Stevens for us right now. And I'm excited to see everyone have fun and stay safe. So, like I had said about tennis, a lot of our spring sports are starting off this week. Softball is supposed to play Spearfish today at Parkview. As I was writing this, I was saying it might be postponed due to weather, and I'm guessing it was. They will also take on Sturgis on Thursday at Parkview. And girls golf have their first practices this week, although they will be mostly practicing indoors due to weather. So good luck to our spring sports. The Stevens Student Council hosted the Mr. SHS competition last Tuesday in the auditorium. There was a talent portion, a question and answer, and a physical fitness competition. We had a parody of a Johnny Cash song, multiple dances, and a WWE SmackDown skit. Jess Christensen won and is now Mr. Stevens High School. I also wanted to mention that today dual enrollment application have opened up for the Board of Regents for the fall courses for Stevens students. So it's a good opportunity to get dual credit and to maybe boost your GPA a little bit. So we're very lucky to be able to do that. And today, April 1st and tomorrow, April 2nd, is Smarter Balance State Testing for all the juniors at Stevens. The tests include science, English, math, and writing, and they're used to gauge how well students have learned typical high school content. And also, speaking of standardized testing, Stevens administration recently got the school-wide ACT averages back, and the average has increased from a 20.6 to a 21.04 from 2024 to this year. Our highest subject is reading and our lowest is English, which is funny because those are quite similar. And onto the staff spotlight this week is Mr. Paul Hendry. Mr. Hendry has been teaching for 33 years in the district. He sees it as a privilege to work in this community, and this is his 24th year teaching at Stevens, even though he started coaching 27 years ago at Stevens. He attended University of South Dakota, where he played both football and track, and earned his degrees in physical education, health, and coaching. Mr. Hendry started teaching and coaching here because of the deep history in his family. His mom was a teacher and counselor in the district, and his dad taught in the Chicago area. So he said that sports have always been a big part of his life, which is what motivated him to teach lifetime and team activities, which are gym classes at Stevens, and to coach track and field. And he even was an assistant coach for girls tennis. It was very fun. In his free time, he loves to spend time with his family and support his kids in their own activities. Mr. Hendry also loves the outdoors and spends time in the hills. So thank you so much, Mr. Hendry, for all that you do. We really appreciate him. And that is all I have this week. So thank you and go Raiders.
Very good. Another good report. Any questions or comments for Ms. Scott? Ms. Clapham.
Thank you for that wonderful report. you know, I think President Carr mentioned either of you might see some of us at post prom, depending if you appear there. So there will likely be some board appearances. I will probably not be wearing formal wear, sorry. That's what I'm doing post prom, not actual prom. But also I just think it's interesting. Thank you so much for sharing those ACT results. I think a lot of time we get into testing numbers. One of the things I think that is strong and a testament to our district is that everyone was taking the ACT before the state decided everyone should take the ACT. So actually our district has been a step ahead, and I think that's going to show, and I think that's going to shine in the state. And so just in 1 year, like seeing an example of that. So really excited to hear that, and thanks for sharing.
All right, Mr. Swan.
A little bit of conversation here with, and I didn't know you were gonna bring up, Mr. Henry. Mr. Henry was, when I started teaching, Mr. Henry was teaching at North. And he thought there was fun just being on the field with him. He's a great guy. I'm glad you chose to honor him. The one thing I would like you to verify though for me about Mr. Henry, and you can ask Mr. Jason Olson about this. I think it was in 1999, Mr. Henry was the North Middle School breakdance champion up there. So but thank you for honoring him.
All right. Anyone else?
I just wanted to say we had Jason is my tennis coach and Henry, I was assistant coach because of that, and they're best friends, and we just had the most fun with him this season. So thank you.
Awesome, wonderful. At this time, Ms. Barrientos.
Okay, so hello, everybody.
Hi.
I'm gonna start off with current events at RCAA. For the student volunteers this semester, I wanted to extend the words of affirmation to the Student Volunteer Award winners. I've had the honor of volunteering with Brady Zander from Rapid City Alternative Academy, and I can prove to you he is very dedicated. On behalf of the students at RCAA, congratulations. As you're aware, Prom 2025 is this Saturday. Tickets are on sale at each high school. I'm excited to celebrate this year's prom as a senior. I will be helping set it up Friday all day, and I'm looking forward to having fun on Saturday. Last Wednesday, Rapid City Alternative Academy took a group of 30 learners to our local colleges. Our counselor, Heather Mayer, along with College and Career Readiness Department, scheduled this field trip for us. We visited and toured 4 campuses: Oglala Lakota College, BHSU, and SCSU University Center, Western Dakota Tech, and South Dakota School of Mines and Technology. It was a great day, and I got a good experience, and it was pretty cool to be able to be there and kind of imagine yourself there if you wanted to go there. Today, 11th grade learners began their state testing today, which is known as SBAC or Smarter Balance Testing, which will lead on to tomorrow to continue with it while the rest of the school remains on regular schedule. That's about it that I have. In closing, I'll remind you of our school-wide expectations at Rapid City Alternative Academy. Be respectful, be present, and be courageous.
All right. Thank you very much. Another good report. Questions, comments for Ms. Barrientos? Ms. Clapham.
Just one quick, just a big thank you. Everybody sometimes forgets prom and events, they don't just happen, that you don't just show up and everything's done. So thank you so much for serving your other classmates and doing that. That's a big deal. And I know it takes a lot of work. And so thank you for doing that. And I hope you do get to let your head down and have a lot of fun after you've done all the hard work. So thank you.
Right. Anything else from anyone else? All right. Thank you very much, ladies. Those are wonderful reports. At this time, Acting Superintendent report. Dr. Strasser.
Good evening again, board. Just a couple of quick items. Tonight, as many of the things that I would normally talk about are on the agenda in other areas. So our students did a great job with their reports, covered a lot of the ongoings. We all know that SBAC testing is taking place, and that's a big deal for us. Our teachers spend a lot of time preparing and carrying that out. So it can often be a stressful time, and we're just thankful for the work they do with our students to prepare them and help them do the best that they can on those assessments. And that kind of takes me back to the ACT. One of the things we are ahead in terms of having that across the district. now for a few years. But to your point, President Carr, they have what's called a super score now. So you can take the ACT multiple times and take the highest and then average that for your overall score. So the ACT has become much more flexible over the last few years in terms of how they do their testing and the results. So just an interesting piece around assessments and college entrance exams. So, but very, very glad that as a district, we are kind of ahead before the state mandates things. A little bit later, you'll have the opportunity to approve an ed structure change at RCAA. And I just want to remind you all that while the state is saying that we need to close the online school as an entity, that does not mean that the services of online learning are going away and those options for our kids. So we will continue offering online options, very similar to what we have before, but obviously we have to make some changes. So in response to the end of the year, when you move days because of extreme weather, I understand that there are certain norms and there are certain things that are not the norm. A lot goes into making these decisions. I just want to remind everybody, we plan these days out with intention and with feedback from our district leaders. We've talked with our principals, our building principals, and received feedback. We do these things in alignment with the district goals that we have. So I think one of the misperception is that it's professional development and that's all there is, and that it's a lot of sit and get at the end of the year, and that is not the case. Our team, from our administrators to our TLI team to Ms. Keegan as a staff development manager, have done a lot of work here in the short term to really put together options for work in the buildings, but also professional development. So I think it's a well-rounded approach that meets a lot of what we want as a district. So with those things in mind, that's the direction that we've gone. We'll share those options and plans out with our buildings and our teachers when we've finalized them, but that's where we're at in that process. And I know I'll talk a little bit more later about our virtual elementary school. So that is my report for tonight, unless you have other questions.
All right, any questions for Dr. Strasser?
I just have a quick one.
Ms. Stephenson?
Okay, so I didn't know about this ACT super score. Does that mean that when we get results reports, will our students who have taken the ACT junior and senior, will the senior reports be a super score, or will it be the reports from that year?
So I don't have a lot of experience with the super score, so I'm probably not the best person to ask regarding that. I don't know what that looks like when you start taking it multiple times and how it's reported out. So I don't have a good answer for you.
I think I might know. You guys might have a better idea, actually. Why don't you start? I bet yours.
If I may. I don't know a whole lot about how it's like reported. I do know that some colleges don't accept super scores. They only accept your regular scores. So typically people can take the test as many times as they want. If they take it more than once, they have to pay for their own, as you guys know. They can submit their highest one. Some colleges ask for every single score for a student to be submitted. So they still say on your record, you have an ACT account where you can view any and all scores that you've done, or any tests that you've taken and what you've gotten there, every single different category. So that's about all I know.
Wow, okay, that was all you know is what I need to know. That's more than I need, so.
I was just gonna say, essentially, the super score is like, let's say you did really good on science one time and you did really bad on it. The next time you could take your highest scores across all that. Like, I know that's what you were saying, but you kind of have to manually
do that or like get a super score, but your scores will appear just as they are. So you kind of have to ask for a super score to get that.
Okay. Who knew? Thank you. Any other questions for Dr. Strasser? All right, at this time, our Chief Financial Officer, Mr. Sassy.
Thank you very much, President Carr. I also have a very short report. Before I talk about anything, I want to point out the sticker I got from the excellent young people at Rapid Valley says, "You are beautiful." And I'm gonna believe that that was intentional because I really needed that today. So good for them. They're great, great young folks.
It's true.
I love it. Yeah. I have very little, as Dr. Strasser said, several of my items will intertwine. Do want to give a quick update regarding negotiations. All 4 groups have been finalized. They are either have already or are going to be voting on their agreements here in the next week or so. And we hope to bundle all those and bring them at the next meeting for the board's ratification. So again, just want to say thank you to all the groups. I thought they did an excellent job. I think the board did a great job of prioritizing people. I think everyone was very happy with the conversations that happened and look forward to rolling those out and talking about some of the great things that we did in negotiations. Unless there are any questions for me, I will move on to my other item, President Carr.
Yes. Oh, any questions? Board members? Okay.
Okay, so some background is necessary regarding the board election draw for ballot order that is under my report. So this district traditionally has, well, let me back up even a step further from that. You will see on the meeting agenda that there is a codified law cited, which is 13-7-13, which addresses ballots, form and content of ballots, and absentee ballots. Part of that law, which is underlined on the agenda, is each candidate's position on the ballot shall be chosen by lot, randomly, by the business manager, and each candidate may be present or represented when the position on the ballot is being determined. So traditionally, this district has, at the end of the day in which the application, or excuse me, the petitions are due, has finalized all that information and then tried to draw for ballot order immediately. Coming into this year, we had some situations over the last couple of years in which mistakes were made, and because it puts the folks that are working on that in such a difficult position, in such a pressurized position to make decisions and not be able to dot I's and cross T's. I wanted to make a change to that. So we talked about the idea of delaying that a week and bringing it into this meeting, not only to increase transparency, but a little more legitimacy to that too. So we reached out to candidates last week. We said we're moving it into the board meeting. This is when it will be held, and that's how we got to this point, Bishop Carr. So this is a very simple process. It's literally a cup, names on paper, and we'll draw the names by area out. So not real formal for all the formal talk that we're doing, but Bishop Carr, I'll approach. I have the names on paper. I'll read them out. And given that you have no conflict of interest, are you okay doing the drawing from the cup, or would you like to assign that to? Okay, very good. I'm approaching.
Okay.
So you're
Yeah, let's go, beautiful man.
Okay, so first, we have Area 3. And Area 3 has 2 candidates. Mr. Michael Berkland and Mrs. Angela Bradsky Rafferty. So those are the 2 names in the cup. Shake the cup. This is for first candidate listed on the ballot. Angela Bradsky Rafferty. It's kind of a formality, but a second. I didn't write the wrong name down. Mr. Michael Berkland. Okay, moving into Area 6. We have Mrs. Jamie Clapham and Mr. Brian Johnson. Those names are in, shaking up. Candidate one. We have Mr. Brian Johnson. Again, candidate two. I think I need to shake it. Mrs. Jamie Clapper. Got it, Shirley? Any questions? All right, very good. Okay, thank you very much, President Carr. And that's it for me unless anyone has questions.
All right. Any questions, comments? All right. I do like that when Mr. Sassy talked to us about that process. I do like it being in this setting. That way there's no, confusion or hanky panky or whatever there is. All right.
Much better way to handle the process.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
We have no conflicts of interest. We're on to item 11, approval of the proposed agreements. Any board member would like to pull an agreement for separate discussion? Seeing none, I will accept a motion to approve the proposed agreements.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the proposed agreements. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no. Right, at this time, we're at approval of the proposed agenda. Any board member would like to pull an item for separate discussion?
I would like to poll Charlie.
Charlie? Any others? Okay, I will entertain a motion to approve the proposed consent agenda except for item Charlie.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the proposed agenda outside, except for the exception of Charlie. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please say no. Right, motion, keep forgetting to tap my little thing. I'll entertain a motion to approve the change order Valley View roof replacement.
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the change order for the Valley View roof replacement. Discussion.
So I really only pulled this because sometimes I think we consent agendas, we vote, and all these things get buried and no one knows. No one really pays attention to what they are because there's so many things. And I think it's important. There's a ton of discussion. Mr. Sassy does an incredible job talking about our budget and managing finances and pointing out that they found a way to get the same quality of roof and save the district $34,000. So I think sometimes when it's talked about like what's capital going to and what's the district doing with their money and are we being responsible? And I just think that we as a board, Mr. Sassy as our CFO is very diligent in taking looks at everything to find where we can save and be fiscally responsible for this district. So I just wanted to point out that $30,000 savings and how those savings allows us to do other things to help our students and our staff, and that I'm appreciative of that.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it also. That's awesome. Any other discussion? All right, seeing none, all in favor of accepting the change order Valley View roof replacement signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, please say no. Motion carries. All right, at this time, we're on item 13, items for board information. And I don't know if I've said it in the past, but you will notice we probably have more items than we've had in the past. One of the reasons it was the decision of the executive team to have maybe a little longer meetings and fewer. At one point, we were having meetings every Tuesday. And so as a board member, you never had your Tuesday afternoons free. So in order to address that, we would just have longer regular meetings, which would allow us to have fewer meetings. So that's why we have the list that we have tonight. We've never talked about time before, but just to be efficient, I think was there discussion about, do they have a time? What is that?
They all have in the 10-minute range. If there's questions, that allows for
So that won't
a
count
fair
against
amount of
it.
10 minutes, or excuse me, a fair amount of questions.
Okay, well, I'm gonna overrule the 10 minutes, 'cause I was gonna give you 20 minutes. So I'll give you,
Okay.
I'll give you 20 minutes, and you don't get, that doesn't include questions from the board. Does that sound fair to everyone? All right, let's proceed. First up is the Apogee update. Mr. Daniel and Miss B. Schaefbauer.
All right, thank you, President Carr. I'm gonna talk a little bit and then Bobby's gonna talk some and then we can be ready to answer any questions. So this page.
Would you like me to do an intro?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
So with the new website, Shane and I have been working very diligently to get everything up. On February 4th. We did do a migration. So all of the old website was migrated to the new website, and we have been working really hard on getting everything kind of aligned and what we want it to look like. This week, all of our staff that have access to the website are going to be training, so it's kind of a perfect time to show you guys. The training will be completed on April 4th. The rollout of the new website is still scheduled for April 11th, so we will go live with that, and the app will go live at that point as well. Shane is going to kind of start this off. This is the main page. So Thrillshare is kind of the parent company of our website. It's the thrill of the share, right? We love to share things. So it's going to be the back end of the website, and he's going to talk about the support services that they provide for training and what we need as a district.
So one of the nice things about this company is they have a dedicated support team, which we did not have really with School Messenger or Juicebox. The process currently was if a school needed assistance or something, they would call the IT help desk, and then we would try to figure it out, and then we'd reach out to one or two people at one of those companies, and then they would get back to us, and we would get back to the school. This company has online chat available during business hours. They've been very responsive to us as we've been going through this process. What is nice also is the people that are part of the implementation, they also are on support. So they really have a good understanding of what we're looking for and what we're doing, and also just how to support their product. So that has been we feel like that's going to be a big help for the schools as they go forward, because we don't really have a dedicated web person, but they have access to people who that's what they do. So the method for support and help should be much better. So we're excited about that. Bobby's going to go through some of the pages and how it all works. So
I am also going to add that for the support side, they have a help center, which you can see in the bottom left-hand corner on the screen. And that is a bunch of videos that they walk you through step by step. So if you need to know how to send out an alert, you can watch a quick 1-minute video that'll refresh on how you do it. And you should be able to do it on your own, which I've used them a lot for help, and it's been great. So to kind of start off, I just want to go over why we chose Apogee again. I think the key piece, and sorry, I'm going to kind of turn this way. I've got dual monitors and I don't really know what's happening, but so the key piece was the consistency that we were going to be able to have with Apogee. So the live feed section here is going to be the best example of that consistency. So you guys are seeing right now the back end. So this is how we post. This is how we send an alert. This is the back side of the website. So for this live feed, as you can see up here on the top, really exciting, you can post to the live feed, you can send a notification, you can post on Facebook, Instagram, send a text message, send a voice call, and also an email all at the same time. So for consistency of messaging, when Corey calls me at 5:30 in the morning and tells me it's going to be a snow day, I can just send one message that's going to go across the board instead of having to log into 4 different places to get it posted for our families to see. So that is great. I can post as myself, or I can post as Rapid City Area Schools. The next part that is really important to highlight is the Alert Center. So this would be if maybe we just needed to get a phone call out to parents, maybe it's kind of that emergency status at a school. This is where I would use that. The one thing I just think is the most important to point out is going to be the fact that in this process, families have their preferred language in Skyward, so we can translate to 320 different languages. So with that, I can use the text to speech, and that will translate the phone call, the text message, and the email all into their preferred language. So they are understanding what's coming their way right away. So that is kind of like the back end that I wanted to highlight. And then I will go into the actual website itself.
Ms.
And I-
Schaefer,
Yes.
we had, when we first started going through this process, we had parents who either knowingly or unknowingly opted out of
Mhm.
receiving emails or
Yep.
contacts.
Yep. They can still unsubscribe. It's better with this. There's no blocked. So if say from School Messenger, sometimes like a Gmail account would just kind of almost randomly block the email because they thought it was spam. That doesn't happen with this. They would have to knowingly go in and unsubscribe to all of the above or block our phone. Well, they can't block the phone number, so that's also nice, but yes.
Okay. Yeah, I wanted to mention that for the
Yeah.
record, because sometimes people say, well, we didn't get the email or we didn't get this, and you unsubscribe, so.
Yeah, we went, looking at the analytics, it's not a specific number that I want to be quoted on, but we went from missing about 60% of our students and families to only missing about 200 per district, all district email and phone call now. So it's getting there. Still may not be the right phone number, but at least we know it's getting to what was in Skyward for the registration portion.
Thank you.
Yeah. And then I'm gonna go into the website portion. This is going to be our new website. So the video is not the video that is going to be on there for launch. I haven't taken any videos in the format that's needed to upload them as of right now, but I have it on my calendar to go out and get it done before the 11th. So that will be updated. But if you take a look, or we'll just kind of walk through this homepage. So we have all of the different buttons, which are completely customizable and extremely easy to customize. So if there's something like, right now we're going through personal transfers, we could easily make one of these buttons a personal transfer option, or we could make it a kindergarten registration option. So that way parents or people visiting the website know right away where they need to go.
So Bobby, would it be like, would the plan be for these to be basically kind of a living, when something that's gonna affect a lot of people, you would switch the?
I would think so. I would think we would want to keep at least, some of them, I would say 4 of them probably consistently, and then having a couple living ones, so. Then we have our acting superintendent note. So this is a great picture of Corey. He was very surprised when I showed this to him today. He didn't know that was up there. And then I know one of the pushes for the district is to try and promote enrollment. So you added the button next to it to enroll today. It'll lead you to an enrollment page so you can know more on how to get your student into the district. In that alerts center that I showed you guys, there was a live feed option. So that is where we can post the live feed so we can share all the great things happening. A quick little snippet. So as you can see, these are some of the sharing the success things and some Facebook posts that have happened. We have a news section, which this is going to be more of the reader kind of view. So a little bit more depth to the story than the live feed. So you can go in and click on all of these and learn more about the great things happening. The event section on the far right-hand side is actually all connected to a Google Calendar. So that can be easily updated and added links instead of having to go in and manually update our student calendars in the website. It's all going to live on a Google Calendar where it will just refresh and go onto the website every night. We have our.
I love that. I love where the events is.
Yes.
It's clear, it's.
And I have also, one thing we didn't have on the previous website was all district events are going to be on the school's individual pages. So if there is or if it's spring break for the whole district, it's going to say spring break from Rapid City area schools. They don't have to worry about going in. Schools don't to input it themselves. It'll just be in there.
Hey, Bobby, I have a question about the Google Calendar.
Yeah.
Our Wilson PTA sent out a Google Calendar for our school calendar, which I was like, well, that's a terrific idea. That
Yes.
really helped me.
Mm-hmm.
Will that be something that actually will be able to do district-wide? Like I'll be able to say, add school calendar to my Google Calendar?
Yes, yeah, you'll be able to add all of these to your calendar.
That's awesome.
And then also like for Wilson, for example, in that situation, they could sync up that calendar if they wanted as well. So,
Awesome.
yeah, so Wilson, like the PTA, they could have all of their events easily just sync up onto the school website. So, with approval, obviously, of building leadership.
Is that gonna be, is that something that the administration, so are schools required to sync their calendars to this?
They don't have to. I mean, it's gonna be recommended that they do because I think that is a huge ask from the community is there is no living place for all things Wilson Elementary or Stevens Elementary. So it is, we are gonna request it and it is gonna be part of the training to show them how to do that. So,
Bobby, is this, so right now I'm just seeing district events.
yes,
So with their calendars, is that just gonna show up on their page then?
yes, yep,
If you already said that, I'm sorry.
that's all right, yes.
Dr. Strasser, can you strongly encourage schools
Yes.
to do it? Because if only two do it, I mean, that defeats the purpose of the calendar, so.
Yes, in anything that would sync coming from an outside organization like a PTA, PTO. Obviously, again, you're gonna need the administrator approval, but the option to sync will be strongly recommended at every school. It's just gonna look a little bit different because how each PTA, for example, communicates their information, it may not look the same. So something we'll have to work through, but
Yeah,
yes.
okay, thank you.
All right, and then continuing on, we have our strategic plan section, which is on the current website through Juicebox. This is just a little bit more revamped. You hover over it, you can see the pillars specifically. And then this Learn More page will lead to kind of our scorecards, which I am still working on getting onto the website. But that will lead to that page, so that way you can view each pillar's scorecard and where we stand for the school year with that. And I really didn't have a good communication picture, so that's just, we're gonna use Adobe stock for that one. And then shout outs, so this is just an area where we can celebrate some more great things happening in the district. They can be static, or this can be living as well, where I can continue to post and post and post, and it'll just keep scrolling through as you go onto the website. Right now, I only have 3 on there. And then if you look down here, we have our Facebook and Instagram connected, where you can download the app, which we will have, and just a little bit more information if we need to post any resources, like COVID resources were posted on the footer and on the previous website. But that would be it for the homepage.
Is now a time?
Dr.
Yeah.
Strasser, yeah, yes.
Were you gonna touch on the app at some point?
Yes.
Or- Okay.
Okay, before you touch the app, board, any questions about the website itself?
Yes.
I'm sorry. Ms.
Oh, it's
Stephenson.
okay. Okay, so going back to the Facebook, Instagram, live stream, post everything everywhere all at once.
Mhm.
Do individual schools have the opportunity, and is that linked to their Facebook page? So every school has a Facebook page and Instagram.
Yes, so some schools don't have Instagram, but all of,
Exactly.
each school does have their own Facebook page, and it is connected ahead of time if they gave me access. Some schools were kind of still struggling figuring out passwords and stuff, so they will be eventually connected. We just have to kind of work through the loopholes of that. And then,
Okay.
so I can post as a district, I can post on all the schools' pages as well. So like, if there is a snow day, I can post it onto South, I can post it all schools. It will be on their website, but they can only post to their own specific feed. They can give me recommendations for the live feed. So if they have something cool to share, they can send it to me for approval, and I can approve it to put it on the district page in that live feed feature.
They can make the post and then you can
Mhm.
get it
Yes.
on there.
Yep, yeah.
Okay, and so, all right, I love that. Is there will be one person at every school that is trained?
So both principals and a clerical staff will be trained. So there will be two. And then some schools have extra people that just have kind of chosen to participate. That's what they like to do. So they are also included on that training as well.
Okay, yeah, I can imagine the high schools needing more than two
Yes.
people. I would love, just throwing this out there, I'd love to have some sort of incentive program for schools post and they get, like,
Yeah.
sort of competition. Who posts? the
I know
most?
right at the moment, high schools do have an extracurricular contract for help with their websites and everything.
okay.
So, yeah.
Thank you.
All right, Ms. Clapham.
I'm just wondering, where would, sorry, get my mic on. So I know when, so mentioned later, we're working on our like online complaint form, like, so if I were navigating, like, since that can be community or student, like, would that be under one of the buttons? Or would it be easier to just search the site? Like if I were saying, I want to figure out how to file a complaint, which would be against.
So you can just search the site and type in complaint, and that will take you there, or you can go, so that's one of the great things too, is you can kind of filter down your search. So if you're looking for a complaint form, you can type complaint up here and filter it down to just your forms. So all of that, it's very customizable with your searches and it's very easy to try and find what you're looking for. Sorry, go ahead. If you have any more questions, I was gonna say something else, but.
No.
Okay, the other part that's really exciting as well, as you can tell, I'm really excited about this new website. Corey's been hearing about it a lot. This website is completely, you can translate the whole thing. So if you would speak a different language, you can come up to this button and translate it to whichever language that you would want. There is gonna be more options just because we haven't launched yet. There's only 2 options. So yeah, that's also exciting.
Mr. Strasser.
I just wanted to clarify, Stephenson, when you're asking about Facebook. So one of the big challenges right now is really reining in all the social media options that our schools sometimes do, and not having district oversight when they say, we're part of this school. Well, is there district oversight? So through this process, we're gonna keep bringing that in tighter over time. It's gonna take us a while, but I think we're gonna have a much better process of communicating out what we need to communicate out as a district and want to communicate out, and have the oversight that we need when we use our name as Rapid City Area Schools.
Okay, Mrs. Stephenson.
I appreciate that, because I did look for how to get tickets to something, and I was on like 5 different Facebook groups at Rapid City Central or Stevens. I can't remember which one it was. And I couldn't figure out which one was the official. I don't even know if I did find an official Facebook site of the high schools, but there were a lot of different groups that were connected and using the logo. So it'd be nice to have like an official site designation. I had one more question about the website. I got the impression that it was hard under a previous site to put like a pop-up or like draw attention to this when someone comes on. Is that easier for you to do on this one?
Yeah, so the alerts banner on the previous website is just that red block that I feel like we always have something posted up there and it's not necessarily like, hey, it's always there. This one, the alerts banner actually pops up on the right-hand side, and you can have it pop out and lead you to wherever you want to go. A great example is if you go to Sioux City School District, their website is ran through Aptigee and they have the school safety button on the side, so it links them to like their is it 211 or something like that, where you can report any safety issues. So that would be one thing you could look at. I don't have anything up as of right now, so.
Can you do like take the survey?
Yeah.
And it pops up instead
Yes.
of just being on the side?
Yes.
That's awesome. Thanks.
Hey, Dr. Strasser.
And as we go through, I just want to make sure we understand that we're launching it over spring break. And maybe you were gonna talk about this, Bobby, but we wanted to get it a touch point at the end of the year so that we can learn how to carry this out, but also give us some time then in the summer to start adjusting and refining what we want most communicated on the front page and where to direct people when they want certain information. So this is a learning process as we get it going, but we're super excited to get it started at the end of a school year, which normally you don't start things at the end of a year. But for this, I think it's the right approach.
Yeah, I'm excited too, Mr. Danielson. This is the type of presentation that I was looking for the last time we did a website update, and that was kind of womp, but this is, I'm excited. I was so excited. I didn't even start my 20-minute timer, so I don't know where we at for time, but keep going. Oh, look at that.
So I'm just gonna run you guys through kind of a couple of your board pages. I actually haven't even looked at this one yet, so this is new for all of us. Here's your Meet the Board page. So this is gonna have all of your contact information and your maps on it. And then Miss Shirley Fletcher as well, and the full area map. This one does need to be kind of cleaned up. It's just because the migration piece, it came from Juicebox, and moving it over doesn't necessarily translate as well. But the one that I have, there's one that I have cleaned up. The board page, there we go. So this is the one, Bishop Carr, that you asked me to create, to give you guys, kind of share your key initiatives and everything. So that is your updated video, Bishop Carr, that I couldn't get on the previous website, but now I can. The meeting schedule, survey, if you guys want to put one of those in, all the emails again, and then your key initiatives. So, and this would be an accordion, so you can drop it down and read more about it. And that's just kind of one of the examples of the pages. Do we have any more questions on the website itself?
No, ma'am, I see no hand.
Are you gonna show a school page?
Yeah, I can. So with the school pages, just to be clear about this, the training is on the 4th, and they will have a week to kind of do their edits. So one thing, another great thing that with the transition to Apogee, we weren't very ADA compliant with our previous website. So there are a lot of things that didn't necessarily translate over in the migration as well, because they were not ADA compliant. So there are a lot of things on the school pages more that weren't, so there may be some missing pieces. Is there a school in particular you guys would like to see? All right. So this is going to be an example of General Beetle. They'll have their live feed posts, so this will connect, like I can post as the school district onto General Beetle's page as well. They'll have their news section. Because they don't have any calendars or anything in their events as of right now, that will need to be connected and will fall into this right side page. But yeah, that's kind of what it looks like from the school side.
Is there a spot for like principal or staff? I mean, I suppose you can make as many pages as you want.
Yep, yes.
The staff won't be like right on there.
They will be, I'm not exactly sure. Oh, there we go. Then you can go into it and see all the different links and everything for their school. And again, they'll be able to customize this as they see fit, so.
There's a staff button. Did you see that? Yeah.
Yeah.
So yes, and it will specifically. It will specifically list just the staff at General Beetle. Okay, and then the only other thing that I necessarily wanted to discuss and show you guys as well would be the engage portion. And that would be the newsletters. So the plan for newsletters, because it is another training piece within ThrillShare, we are hoping to do that training at the end of April or beginning of May to train the schools on it. They won't be required to use it because a lot of them already use the SMORE or a different newsletter component for their schools and pay for that. So that schools will be expected to transition completely to the engage portion of ThrillShare for newsletters next school year. And again, those will translate right onto the website as well. So you can link them in your live feed posts, you can link them on your homepage, you can do all that stuff. And during the run through and training for Shane and I. We did go through a test newsletter, and this is kind of just an example of what one would look like for Rapid City area schools. It's completely customizable. You can follow a template, which this one is the kind of just like the newspaper template that they have for every single brand. But you can go in and customize all the pictures and do all the good things with it. So, and it can be as long as you want. And then obviously you can pull all of the engagement off of it. So for this one in particular, it was sent to just Shane and I because it was for training, and you can see how much time was spent reading the newsletter, how many people used what devices, what browser they used, all basically can break a lot of things down so we can get a lot of good analytics, for example, for our scorecard for communication. So, yeah. And then the only other part would be, the app is on the App Store. So if you guys would like to download it, you can look at it. I'm not gonna run through it because it's really hard to actually share your screen on a phone. But if you look up RCAS in the App Store, in either, App Store or Google Play Store, I believe. I am an Apple user, so I don't know what it's called. What?
Are we on the app now?
No, I'm not.
Ms. Stephenson had a question.
Oh, yes.
This is just more of a comment as we think about communication and trying to promote our school district and tell the good stories. It really strikes me that like, it really will take engagement across the district. Like, this is such a nice format, and it's gonna take people at every single school. And I wonder if a quick presentation at the district opener to just say like, we're really excited about this. Look at what your website can do now. And asking people to like, think of when they have something that would go well on as a part of a stream for General Beadle Elementary, to just get into that mindset. Cause I just think, you know, it's a mindset. It's certainly not my mindset to like think, ooh, I should post about this.
Yeah, I think one of the great things too with Aptigee is for the different users, you have to set up roles for them, and there's 4 different roles. There's like a super admin, which will only be like IT, myself, and Corey currently have access to the super admin, so we can edit anything we want. But they also have like a moderated user. So if there's a teacher that's pretty active in 3rd grade at Rapid Valley and constantly is taking pictures and ready to post, we can add her as a moderated user. Teacher, get her training, because we have 24-week unlimited training through Aptigee. If she wants to participate, we can get her that training and she can post, and then Rhoda the principal from Rapid Valley could approve those posts. So that way it's constant engagement. Whoever wants to be engaged, we can engage through our website now. So.
What about, does this replace Class Dojo? Will Aptigee eventually at some point replace Class Dojo?
That is something that, I'll let Corey talk about.
At this point, we don't have any plans to move away from Class Dojo, because I know that's very well utilized and established in the district. I think it's important to see where we're at, how this progresses, and how we're able to utilize it across the district as a communication and informational tool. So I would start there, and I think we need to focus on the newsletter piece first, and just tidying up all the social media components that are out there. I think that's the priority.
That makes total sense. At one point, it has the potential to replace Class Dojo if we just want one app. If we want to tell families you need one app to be if you're a high school student, your elementary student, everybody in between.
I believe that is a possibility. I don't know what that looks like, and if it's on par. That's always one of the things when you go all in one. Are you going to get the same level that you get from some of these more standalone that are very high functioning systems? So you got to be a little bit careful with that. And then I think there is an additional cost if we wanted to do that through Aptigee. So is that offsetting fiscally the way, for the use and change?
All right, on to the app. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I would just ask you download it, just because it's pretty hard for me to share my screen for Zoom. It most times does not work. Again, if you just go into the App Store, look up RCAS, then you can download it and it's our beautiful star logo on it. So
Open Rapid City area schools, at least for the Android. I'm not sure about the Apple. So I did RCS and I couldn't find it.
Yeah, I did find it, and if I can speak while you're doing that. One really cool thing is the first thing it did was it asked me what schools do you want to get notifications from. So right away, you can get all of them if you want, or you can say my kids go to these schools or whatever, and change that at any time. And I noticed that there's also a separate one for activities at the high school level. That's also super cool. I think that's a great idea because some people think of my dad, he doesn't care about Central's normal stuff, but he would care about Central's activities. And so I appreciate that. And that's super cool. I'm glad that we have that option.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Brooklyn. Any other questions or comments for the communication pillar team? Oh, Ms. Clapham.
Just very quick, I just want to say thank you and that this is one of those examples of being responsive and working collaborative with the board. We were particularly about the beginning of last summer, we all kind of were stomping our feet and saying, we hate this website, it's terrible. And we were pretty loud about it, to be honest. But Dr. Strasser and Shane and Bobby were really open to our feedback and open to okay, how can we do this better? And so it's really cool to see sometimes you say is anything we're doing, is anything happening? And this is a really example of this is gonna be a huge change and a huge step for communication. So I'm very excited about it.
This app is super cool. I really like it. Is there gonna be a way to get to Skyward from the app?
I'm not sure if we can put a link out there, but then it would have to be on the site. But you would still have to log in because there's a separate Skyward app, which also. So it would just be a link, which I'm not sure.
Maybe that's not
much would help.
effective, but it's just nice to have everything in one spot. But I like it, and I also really like on the app, you can go to the menu and click staff and find anyone. And that's really hard because on Skyward, it says their name, but you can't just click it and go to their email anymore, which is hard as a parent, I think, so.
Yeah, and the nice thing about this new site is it's set up to where it updates from Skyward every day. The old one, it was manual, which that sounds great in theory, but it doesn't work well in practice, so.
All right, anything, Dr. Strauss.
Just to go back to Ms. Clapham's comments, I think when we want to be responsive to the things from the board and the district, this fits in the community pillar, it fits in the communications pillar, and I think it transcends a lot of all the other ones. So in just trying to be aligned from top to bottom when we think about our strategic plan and carrying out the pieces that we need to be an effective organization, I think this is a great step.
Right, anything else? My apologies, I was so excited, I have not been following my own rule of time, so we probably are a little bit behind, but I'll start the timer this go around. All right, thank you very much, that was a very good report. At this time, we're gonna hear about virtual elementary proposal. And this is Dr. Strauss.
So board, after our study session the other night, I pulled a little bit of that information. I wanted to bring that forward to you. So if you've thought more about it and had other questions that you can ask those tonight. This isn't super in-depth yet. Again, we haven't really had enough time to really flesh out the details. And what I wanted to really emphasize tonight, and you can see in the document that's attached to the agenda, the entity again, all this is going to flow through Meadowbrook. We're going to utilize the Kibben Custom facility for these programs. And even though it's a virtual program, there's the full virtual online option, and there's blended elements to that. So we feel very strongly that education should rarely be done just fully virtual. So that's how we're approaching it. When you look through, like under entity, the principal at Meadowbrook, Ms. Hogenkamp, who you heard from, so she's going to be overseeing the program, and We know that there are district special education rooms at Meadowbrook, and that we're going to move some of our preschool rooms associated with special education to the Kibben Custer building. We're adding a junior kindergarten at Meadowbrook, and then, of course, the virtual elementary school, and we're hoping for the TEACH program and a behavior reset. So a lot of things moving, and very excited for the work that Ms. Hogenkamp's leading there. From a service standpoint, in order for us to do these programs, I wanted to have a little more clarity. We're looking at a clerical position, and I just put in some financial pieces there for you to consider, as well as adding an additional administrative support when you're providing this kind of support for our students at over 2 buildings. I think this is appropriate, also considering the size and scope of Meadowbrook and what we're asking with these programs. Again, the virtual elementary school, you know, most of the details. I think the third bullet point, we hope to serve up to 40 students this year. I'm not sure how to gauge what we can actually accomplish this year until we get it moving. But that's our goal, is to get into up to 40. We're asking for 2 teachers to really dive into this type of instruction and learning and teaching. So that's indicated here. And we always look for efficiencies across the district. I'm constantly looking for where can we be efficient and utilize our resources the best to meet the needs of kids. So I'm looking at those things. There's opportunities at times for title funds for some of our schools to use, so that you know, when you're pushing 25 to 30 kids, our title schools can utilize classroom reduction funds to add an additional staff member to reduce those class sizes. That means we don't have to utilize general funds for to reduce class sizes. So we just look for those things, and I think that's important to think about and have some knowledge around. Obviously, we're hoping for increased enrollment with just every school year, but also with the programs that we put in place. Just some other breakdowns regarding related services that you can take a look at. Again, on the budget side, things run through Meadowbrook. So anything that would be done would be under Ms. Hogenkamp's direction there. From a curriculum standpoint, Ms. Roberts pointed out that we utilize Edgenuity for this, and that's our learning management system. That's what LMS stands for, and the estimated cost there, but we have familiarity and some expertise with Edgenuity, so that's a good foundation for us. We know that the virtual elementary school receives support from, of course, building admin and clerical. And just an estimate, I don't know how accurate I am on this, but I wanted to give you a number for you to consider when we bring this back at our next board meeting. So again, just kind of diving into some of the maybe broader overview of this, and be happy to answer any questions.
All right, any questions? I'm not at mine. We'll just start. I don't know who, well, Mr. Berkeley.
Thank you. This might be a not right now question, and if it is, that's fine. Are we imagining like a synchronous get on Zoom, everybody learn together, or is it some of both, or is it all, here's your curriculum, go with support? Like, can you help me visualize that a little more? And like I said, if it's too
I would
soon,
say
okay.
the opportunity for all those, I don't think we're looking at synchronous as the main mode. I think it's going to depend on the certain curriculum at that time, the type of instruction that's needed, and the student breakdown, and because this is K-5 and with 2 teachers, so you're looking, how do we establish that? And if we have, I mean, a lot of scenarios, you could have 20 third graders and 3 second graders, for example.
Right.
Well, how do you carry out synchronous learning that way? So there are some inherent challenges that we're going to have to navigate. So I don't see synchronous as the main mode. I think the support pieces are going to be important as we go through this and having touch points that are in person or just that human connection versus the virtual. So we're cognizant of all that, but that will be more of a later question.
Yeah, and I don't think that we need second graders on their computer 8 hours a day, every day. So to make that clear, but I do think that it is helpful to, as you kind of mentioned, have Thursday at 2, every third grader gets on or something like that, so that they do get some of that.
Yes.
Even if it's not a real human, well, I think it's, depending on who you ask, it's a real human connection. But even if it's not a face-to-face human connection, I think that's important. So thank you for considering those things. I know you are, but just want to ask about it. Thank you.
All right, Ms. Urban.
Okay, super excited for the virtual school, and I just had a question on something that you brought up about title schools using their funding to lower class sizes. Is space an issue? Have we come across that where they say, like at Rapid Valley, for example, where they have huge class sizes and they have the ability then with title funds to reduce, but space is an issue, I would assume?
It is. It's one of the reasons that we're advocating for moving the preschool from Rapid Valley over to the Kevin Custer building. Same thing with Pinedale to accommodate the number of sections. So I think every building's going to adjust the best they can regarding the numbers. I think, so for example, if you have a special such as art, you can do art on a cart, you can move in, so you can push into classrooms. So that reduces the need for a dedicated classroom. So our principals are pretty good at utilizing every space. But yeah, we have space issues across the district. You know, when we closed a facility last year, then that puts a crunch on us.
All right, Mrs. Stephenson.
I just had a question about cost. Is Edgenuity $1,000 per student, or is $40,000 like unlimited enrollment?
Oh, boy. I can't remember how Ms. Roberts described that. I think, can't help me out. Okay.
Okay, I was just wondering if it's scalable.
I believe it is.
It's a
but I
small
would have
thing.
to get clarity on that. Yeah.
Not the biggest deal. I do think we should, if this is a go, I don't think it's too early to actually market, and I think we should market this outside of district channels. It's always tempting to just like use our communication channels and talk to our people, but part of this is we want to get some homeschoolers to have the expertise that the district offers and the resources, but still be allowed that flexibility and get some of those students back in the district. So
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a budget for marketing this, but I think I think the community wants to know that this is gonna happen, or will want to know that this is happening.
Yeah, so obviously we want the board to approve this venture for us to put together. And once that goes in, then we want to hire and we want to make sure we get some more concrete details, and then, yeah, put some marketing pieces together. I think that's only natural and expected for us to do. That's one of the reasons why we're doing this. We want to serve all our students in Rapid City area schools, but also keep our community in mind and offer quality education across our community. And I think that's important and one of the reasons that we're doing this. So yeah, we will find some ways to be intentional with marketing.
And this is an information item now and will be on our agenda in 2 weeks. Is that
correct?
Okay.
Ms. Urban.
I was just gonna say in response to that, Christine, that I actually had a meeting with the Journal today with their editor, and he was asking me about school stuff. And since we have talked about this publicly, you're probably gonna get a call, Bobby, because I talked about it. So heads up.
Okay. All right. Anything else? Virtual Elementary. Wonderful. Dr. Strasser, you have 9 minutes to spare. Came right in. Appreciate it. All right, at this time, we're gonna have look at student handbooks. Mr. Stewart. I don't see him.
No, Mr.
Okay.
Stewart.
I'm here, I'm on.
Oh, there he is.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
I didn't
Oh,
see
there
him,
you
so.
are, right in the middle.
I am on. I believe you guys all got the memo that outlines pretty much all the various proposed changes to the handbooks. Looking at that memo, there is not anything extraordinary and out just slight changes to verbiage here and there. Adding speech and debate to the middle school activities handbook. A few things are adjusted there. We did make some correction to some verbiage to volleyball tryout criteria to make it a little bit more objective versus subjective. I know last year we did make some changes to some of the tryout criteria. We removed the coach's criteria that was very subjective. Looking at the volleyball criteria, that there was also some subjectivity there that we addressed as well as far as the two handbooks. Looking at the elementary handbooks, not a lot there either. Some adjustment in verbiage. There is the general policy statement addressing the new policy, the ABA-CA, dealing with parent interactions with schools. So there's essentially just the purpose statement is in the handbook addressing that policy rather than the entire policy restated. There was from Satara, she sent me some verbiage change to the head lice procedures, and those are addressed in all three, I believe, handbooks. Otherwise, again, not a whole lot of big moves, just some slight changes. I worked with directorates, managers, principals, and everybody gave me their 2 cents, and I got to play the gatekeeper of all the adjustments addressed.
Hey, is that it?
That's pretty much it, unless you want me to go deeper into any area, sir.
No,
I'm
thank
gonna
you.
save you some time tonight, sir.
Oh, thank you. Okay, board members, any questions, comments about the handbooks?
Just a question on the middle school activities with adding speech and debate. Do those like math counts, do they get a stipend of some kind if they're doing activities for the clubs at the schools? Yeah.
I don't know that answer.
If there's a coach, they're typically compensated. If that's new, I would have to look at.
It's not that big of a deal. I was just curious. I just didn't know.
Okay.
But I like all of these. I wish that all schools had them. But I'm sure it's hard to find staff to do it. So thank you.
Okay, anything else? All right, very good. Secondary science resource adoption. Ms. Keegan.
Oh, and we are so excited to get to present because I'm actually presenting for science and then following up quickly with our world history update. And I heard Bishop Carr said I could have 20 minutes and Michael, will you help me? That's 40 I get, right? I get 40 minutes, 20 each.
Sure,
Perfect.
we'll be here anyway.
You guys, we got this today. Thank you. Thank you for the gift of the 20 minutes. I did plan on only 10 though, Bishop Carr, so
Okay,
we got that
wonderful,
going for it. Yep,
wonderful.
I knew you'd be excited.
Getting better, things are better and better.
It is a pleasure to present to you tonight the work of the secondary science adoption team. I have with me Tiffany Walla from East Middle School and Amy Wires from Stevens High School. They were both pilot teachers and can kind of speak to the experience a little bit. I also have my partner in the hustle, Helen, who is not with me tonight, but she's with us in spirit. So we've got our secondary science adoption committee. This is their purpose statement. This is what they decided would be the focus of their work. This drove every time we met. You guys have seen this often every time we bring an adoption. It comes with their purpose statement, which the committee makes at the beginning of the work and continues to remind them of the expectations.
We also have our committee membership. This is just kind of an overview of, we include everybody. And that includes special education teachers from both middle and high school levels. And they are very busy, but they do so much to support students in the classrooms that it's very important to have their voice in this process as well. Then we move on to just kind of a little glimpse at our timeline. So with this timeline, we're right now right on track with the April 2025. They've selected the resources on March 21st at the PD Day. And now we've already presented them to instructional council and are bringing them here to you tonight. And with that, yeah, Tiffany gets to go.
Okay, so with the middle school pilot, we did 2 pilots. We did Twig and Discovery Science. Both were phenomenal resources, we found out. We chose Discovery Science just because it was more collaborative with elementary and actually collaborates with social studies. It comes up with more anchor phenomena for science and a lot more hands-on activities. And there's a lot more resources for remediation, or you can find a plethora of things on that to help any student you can need. And their LMS that blends well with Canvas. So that's why we chose that one.
In addition to this, the elementary science resource is Discovery Education as well. Mystery Science is through them. So that creates kind of some synchronous into middle school. Also, along with that, we have a package that comes with us since Discovery is a site license. It's called Discovery Experience, and that is for all teachers to use. So our social studies teachers, it gives you the plethora of videos available from Discovery Education, which they run a whole cable channel, so they've got a lot of things. So the social studies teachers, when they were doing the adoption, I said, you cannot sway the science teachers on picking Discovery Science just because you want this. And they're like, yeah, okay. But that's just a nice added bonus for all of our teachers. And as an example, that's, we planned some PD on that for possibly, I mean, pending. But trying to get that scheduled, that would be something we would do training for all teachers on during the March 27th, 28th days, just to give an example. Then we also have biology.
Okay, so I get to do all the high school, different ones. So biology, they chose lab aids. They said it was more hands-on approach, and so it was more student engagement as they used that pilot. We had some first-year teachers, and they also really liked the platform and said it was very easy to follow for them to use. And the assessments are more aligned to the learning that, you know, the biology teachers feel is most important. For chemistry, they chose Cengage. And so with this one, it aligns seamlessly with quality lab experiences. It has a deeper understanding of the standards that we want them to have for chemistry in high school, and it provides adaptive practice software. For physical science, we chose Cognity. The biggest part for this one is that their representatives were so helpful and very responsive for anything that we asked of them. They would give it to us within a couple days. And they were very eager to make sure that we were heard and that they would help through the process. The platform also aids teachers to learn how to incorporate our state standards to the fullest ability that we have and encourage team building and thinking for all levels of learners.
And I want to give a huge shout out to our physical science teachers who piloted this text. They have consistently, over the last 2 adoptions, had a very difficult time finding a resource that aligns to what they expect for students in high school physical science. And so having a publisher that was so willing to work with us was just a blessing. And they consistently worked with the publisher of these are the things that we need for our students, and they consistently met the challenge. So it was really great.
And physics, we have SAVAS, and so it best represented the state standards that we have, and then provided a wide range of lab experiences. So there's from modeling to analyzing data to, and all of the different ranges, so.
Thank you, Tiffany and Amy. So now we look forward of where do we go next? So we're planning out the teacher PD for the new resource, and then also looking at the Board of Education will adopt the new, or I'm sorry, they've already adopted these standards. And so they will be working at the April early release to put those into the pacing guide. They don't have as huge of a change as what we already had and discussed with social studies. So theirs is really just kind of adjusting the standards to meet what's currently adopted. So it's going to be a really pretty seamless process. A suggestion or a request from this committee was to have the PD for the resource before summer. Because it's really hard to teach with a resource you just learned how to use 3 days ago. So that was a huge request from both our science and social studies committees. So we've been working to utilize the May 27th, 28th dates to fill that for them. This kind of gets into a little bit more of it, but really our big thing is that we are trying to support our teachers based on what they've asked for. So we've asked, do you want a master course in Canvas so you can collaborate with this resource? Because it is hard to use a new resource. It puts you back to ground zero pretty much. So how can we support you? How can we, what can we give you? And really what they asked for was time. And in this case, it worked out pretty nice that they have 2 days because we're going to use one for training on the resource and actually planning that first unit. And then the second day they've requested for just surplusing the equipment, because I know this sounds silly, but when you think of all the equipment that comes in with the science purchase, I joke about this, but I say, like, you may have a 20-pound bag of sand that came in the curriculum adoption 7 years ago, and it may not have been used, or maybe you got 5 20-pound bags of sand. So them getting some time to go through the current supplies that they have, sort through them and surplus what they don't need. So when they get in all of the new resource and the supplies that go with it, they have room for it. Any questions?
Ms. Stephenson.
Yeah, I just was wondering if, do these resources sync with AP Sciences, or is that a totally?
They do their own adoptions.
Okay.
Yep. And they have a different cycle because they renew their resources based on the College Board's cycle of adjusting standards.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Very good report. World history now.
Okay. With no other questions, let's move into world history. Thank you for the segue, Bishop Carr. Thank you to Amy and Tiffany for your guys' time. I appreciate it. Have a good evening. Well, good news. We made a choice. So for world history, so they got the opportunity to have a very short pilot. And they selected only TCI to pilot the materials. They were already very familiar with what Discovery, which is what they adopted for world geography, had in order for world history. And so they wanted to see if there was another option available to them. Quickly, we'll go over the purpose statement. Again, this group worked very heavily on finding something that was very applicable to our students, not just pretty, what I call standard social studies, which is a textbook. We read it, we do a worksheet or answer some questions and move on. They were very adamant about that does not fit the needs of our kids. So making sure that we found something to fit the needs of our learners was very important to them. That's why they wanted to do this second pilot. So as you look here, this is kind of their timeline they worked on. They have also determined on March 21st, their resource to adopt. They have selected TCI in order to use for the world geography course, or world history course, which is second semester, their freshman year. And this is really, it brings consistency across the social studies classrooms, because all of you, if you remember, all of the other high school courses requested TCI for theirs also. And it is project-based. That's a huge piece that the teachers wanted to focus on. It's very focused on a problem and how they can solve it and find all the information about it. Lexile levels are adjusted, and that means that they can adjust the reading level of the material, which is huge for our learners to make sure that we can make those accommodations. And they knew that there would be some learning on the platform that would be required for students when you're switching to a new platform at semester time. But the great piece about it is they're like, we know it, we'll put forth that effort and the work for everyone ahead of us so that they'll have a much smoother sailing when they move into their TCI materials as well. And that's all I have for that one. It's just kind of a brief overview of, we've talked about this timeline before, but we're moving again, kind of like science, into the PD portion and planning for pacing guides and updating those to the new standards as well.
All right.
Any questions about world history?
Well, actually, not world history, but maybe both.
Oh, yeah, I can take both.
Last year I went and visited several libraries thinking that students don't read books, but the librarian said that students still want something in their hands. So two of the resources didn't have any textbooks.
Yep.
How are students getting adjusted to that, or?
So that's a really great, so let's talk about it. So I'm kind of bummed Amy left, but I can address that because this is something, so Cognity, which is one they selected, is completely online. But I can tell you that those students have only been actually online on the platform maybe 2 days. They do a lot of, it's very group-based, discussion-based learning. So even though it may be online, it's not set up that way for the teachers to actually present the learning to the students. The students, if they're absent, could go onto the dashboard and pull the information off, but this just gives them a different option.
All right, thank you.
They really felt it enhanced their art and science of teaching, of just being able to teach and work with students.
Thank you.
Yeah.
This is maybe anecdotal, maybe just throwing a thought out there, but I really am, I guess, intrigued by the ability to adjust the Lexile levels and wondering if we see potential for, I know we hear and see a lot statistically that we get to 9th grade, then we lose people. And I think some of that is when you're lost, then you're not engaged. And part of that is if your reading level is below like grade level, that's where we lose people. Do we see or hope for the potential that allowing for that adjustment is going to allow for some of those students that maybe are, a grade level behind to continue to progress? And is that kind of one of the reasons we picked that? I said, I really think it's great.
Yeah, and I am not sure with TCI specifically if both the student and teacher can adjust it. I know most of them students can adjust, but some of them the teacher can go into the account and adjust it for the student. So if you have someone who's like, I don't need to do that, like they can just already have it done. So for example, if a student's on an IEP, that would be a perfect way to differentiate for them that would make that learning attainable to them.
Wonderful.
Okay, awesome report. Any questions, comments? Well, thank you, Ms. Key.
Always fantastic to hang out with you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, committee reports. Anybody with a committee report? Mr. Berkland.
I have like half of two of them. Well, one was, you just heard most of. I had instructional counsel.
Good job.
So yeah, that was a lot of it. But what was not discussed here tonight, but you heard a lot of anyway. Principal Hafer from North presented about ELA reading. Basically, it's a name change. Nothing's really changing, just we have to call it reading now because of some like OCR stuff and that sort of thing going on. And it has to go through instructional council because that's the process. So pretty unexciting thing there, but good to know. And then there was a discovery presentation, which you heard at the study session. And so that's not too exciting. And then there was social studies and science, which you heard there. The one that we haven't talked about yet, but I'm very excited about is at Stevens, Principal Hafner there. Did I say Principal Hafer at North?
Yes, you did.
Okay. Reading Hafer Hafner. I was like, did I do it wrong? Principal Hafner. Over at Stevens presented about a high school math pilot for Algebra 1 just in time, they're calling it, which is very near and dear to my heart. The big idea with Algebra 1 just in time is that students are getting grade level content with supports. So it's very, very heavily research based. If you go back and read my emails from when I was a teacher, I've been wanting this for years, so I'm very excited to hear about it. But the main idea is if we put our kids in pre-algebra, they learn pre-algebra. If you teach them 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade things, they stay at a 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade level. And so that if you keep putting them in that same class, keep holding them back, they come back. The idea with Algebra 1 just in time is that you're still getting ninth grade level, so you're teaching them to that level while supporting them to get there. There's a lot of research, particularly in math, that says anyone can do algebra with a little bit of support. You don't necessarily need all of the things that you might think of that you need. Obviously, it won't be taught exactly the same as Algebra 1, but will be taught with some supports in there. The other idea with that is right now, with the way that our schools are set up, particularly I know Central with the freshman house, if you take pre-algebra and you fail pre-algebra, you go into algebra anyway. Whereas now, if you take algebra and you fail algebra, you take algebra again, but you already have some kind of background there. And so it sets up a lot of different opportunities there for our students. So I'm very excited and very hopeful. Additionally with that, and I'll stop yapping about math for now, it gives every student the opportunity to take 4 years of math. And that is very, very important when we think of equity across the district and giving opportunities for every single one of our students, and really just fits what feels like a great philosophy change here of letting students do what they should, what they want to, instead of what we believe from a test score or teacher input or whatever. But at the same time, I appreciate this just-in-time idea of you just throw a kid into calculus, they're going to flounder. But if you throw them into algebra with support, we can help them out there. So I'm very, very excited about that. And the other committee, I had to leave early, but I also had Title VI Parent Advisory Council. And then before I left, there was that same presentation from Rapid City Alternative Academy. And then there was a representative from the CASA program there talking about kind of the partnerships that we have with our schools. And like I said, I forgot my notebook, so I don't have all the information on that, but I can bring more information from that to our next meeting. But that's all my committees, well, and then policy, but we'll see those too. So
There wasn't much in the Title VI, the PAC meeting, it wasn't much after. All right, Ms. Clapham.
So Associated School Boards, unfortunately, the quarterly meeting will be April 11th. I unfortunately cannot attend in Sioux Falls. Apparently they're throwing axes after the meeting, so I'm really bummed that I'm missing that. But they will have that. I will send a report to let them know what's going on in Rapid City. Otherwise in ASBSC, which you guys should all be getting, but they start the free online webinars, and that's starting the first. Second one is tomorrow. It's about negotiations, so I could see if we weren't super interested in that, but then myself and a representative from Brandon Valley will be discussing mental health for students, and yes, this is my first time. Yeah. So I've participated a lot, so I decided to jump in and lead one of the webinars, and then the third one celebrating success. So they really are. I've logged on a couple times. They're pretty informal, but a really good chance to just collaborate with people from across the state and get different ideas and different ways that people and districts are doing things. And I said it's all on Zoom, so you can stay in your PJs and do it, but good opportunity to do that. And I couldn't remember if we did announce a new CFO and director of the Protective Trust. Her name is Roxane Heason. And one of the struggles ASBSC has had being in Pierre is finding someone qualified to do that who lives close enough to Pierre. And fortunately, she has lived near Pierre for several years, and for the last 15 years has been the finance director for the city of Fort Pierce. So she's very experienced and very qualified. So we're hoping to be able to keep her for a while because of her, her location. The other committee had was outreach. We wrapped up our listening sessions earlier before negotiations, and we will gather and summarize the feedback we received and share that in a Google document that the board would have access to, as well as upper administration, so that feedback can be taken into consideration in future processes and decisions. We're also working on building a list of community organizations, and we will reach out to the rest of the board. So just thinking about organizations we would want to speak to if presenting a bond with things going on in the district. Also organizations perhaps that Dr. Thompson, as she comes in and gets to know the community, key organizations that we think would be vital to have connection with. So we would love everybody's input, because we all serve in different geographic areas and different business areas. And so we'll be working on building that. And I am also on policy, mainly in policy. We're really updating a lot of policies directly related to the OCR. And so those will come out over the next 4 to 6 weeks. But I think one thing I would say is the impetus was perhaps the OCR, but I think they are beneficial to the district in general. So I don't want it to seem like we're only doing this because someone told us we had to, and there are things, for example, in the public complaint process that wasn't great and needed to be improved anyway. And so this is a benefit of that we've been directed to areas that we can improve on. So those will be coming out over the next couple months.
All right, thank you very much. Any questions? All right, Mrs. Stephenson.
Yeah, I just will give a brief update from the Finance Committee, which met last Wednesday. We got a presentation from Mr. Sassy on capital outlay, the health of the capital outlay budget and the plan for upcoming years. Mr. Sassy brought forth an idea and the Finance Committee really strongly supported it, that off of the top of capital outlay every year, we set some parameters. 25% should go directly to facilities for facility projects that upcoming year. We have a debt portion, as you all know, we pay debt for past capital outlay certificates. As that goes down, his proposal is that I'm kind of summarizing my own words, but that we take what is not needed. Mostly it's going to come from the bond, our debt going down. We take what's not needed from paying debt and move it into a facilities and land fund. And this would be something that grows as our debt goes down. This other one goes up, and it puts us in a good position for putting more capital outlay certificates or building buildings when we need them, if we don't have bond money or if we need a special project. So the Finance Committee was supportive and excited about that. That should come before the whole board, but just wanted to give you an update that that's what we're working on in finance when it comes to capital outlay. I think one other thing we talked about that I wanted to bring up is the annual budget presentation. I think if we're all really honest, the budget is huge and hard to really dive into as an individual board member. We're voting on it, but it's not often clear to me that I fully understand what I'm voting on. And I don't know some things like, well, what's lower this year than last year and why? We just kind of accept, which we have to. I mean, it's a big thing and we trust our administrators. But we talked about as a finance committee, maybe diving a little bit more into it and giving an actual recommendation that as a finance committee, we dove into the budget, we recommend approval, just so that everybody knows that at least that work was done, that we dove in a little bit deeper. So that is another thing that we discussed at the Finance Committee meeting. And I think that's about it. It took a while to discuss all that.
All right, thank you very much. Any questions? Ms. Urban?
So the committee that hasn't been covered yet is the Military Advisory Committee. April is Purple Up for military kids. So I hope that some of our schools, especially schools where we have a lot of military affiliated kids, celebrate. There are a number of airmen who are deployed right now in North Dakota, and it's actually a lot of civilian workers as well. And so I just want to remind, I think a lot of military families know that there's a liaison, a school liaison, and that her name is Joanne. And I think most of you have probably met her, but she's a great resource, and they have a lot of resources available for students who maybe are struggling with a parent being gone. So just a reminder that she's available, and I'm happy to direct people if they have questions. And then next week is the Defense and Industry Symposium. It's bringing together military, industry, and community leaders to explore how defense investments fuel innovation, security, and economic growth in Western South Dakota. I did get a chance to take a look at the agenda, and there are a few sessions that are about quality of life for military families, which schools are a big part of that. And I just think it's something that we have to really think about moving forward. It's important for the security of our base to keep it here. So if anyone wants to go, the registration is open. And like I said, the agenda is out there. So if there's just one or two sessions that you think might be interesting, that might be a possibility to go to one of those too. And I think that's it on that one.
All right, any questions? for Ms. Irvin? All right, mine, everybody stole my thunder, so mine will be very brief. From the Finance Committee, as Ms. Stephenson said, about our responsibility to make sure that we at least understand or vaguely understand the budget. Mr. Sassy is very good. If you call him and ask for his time sitting down and going over that, and to the point that I was going to suggest a policy about the board making sure that we look into the budget and understand it, until I realized that inherent in voting on the budget says that you agree, approve, and hopefully understand what it says. So there's no need for a policy to do what we're already supposed to be doing. The policy review, I just want to say that and inform the community that we are updating some policies along with new policies, and that we are updating. And I'd just like to shout out Attorney Parker for the work that she's doing on revising and writing all our different policies. And lastly, I will be attending the National School Board Conference, and it's the 4th, 5th, and 6th of April. So I'll leave on Thursday, and hopefully I'll be able to bring back some good information that we'll be able to use in our district. So, all right, anyone else? Ms. Stephenson.
Yeah, I forgot to bring up one other thing. I wanted to let the board know that the board of Western Dakota Technical College has invited us to have an ex officio position. And they meet on Wednesdays at 11:30, once a month, once every other month. Anyway, so we've been invited to have a position, an ex officio. It would be one of us, probably consistently the same member going and then reporting. I think it's really important. I reached out to them because I wanted to make sure that we were connected, that we both knew one entity, what the other is doing, since we used to be the same governing board, and they were really receptive to it. It got put on hold because of Dr. Bowman passing. I think, I don't know, can anybody let me know if you'd like to be, or let President Carr know if you'd like to be the ex officio member? Does anybody have any objections to a board member serving as an ex officio member on Western Dakota Tech?
Anybody opposing that? Okay,
So maybe if you have any interest in being, they're Wednesdays at 11:30. The first one is April 9th.
does anybody have a strong desire to do it? Not me.
I don't mind doing it.
Okay, Jamie's thinking.
The only thing I'm concerned about, Christine, is do you know how long they are? Because our facilities and finance meetings are both on Wednesdays at 1. So it makes it hard if you're on either one of those committees if it runs over. I mean, I wouldn't mind, but I am a little bit concerned about that because those are important, so.
I will consider. I don't currently have any committees that meet on Wednesdays, so I will consider.
Okay, all right, so we've got 3 potential at this time, and so we'll arm wrestle. I was thinking about Mrs. Sassy. We won't have a slap fight.
No,
Okay,
not allowed.
all right, so yes, we are gonna do it, and now we'll just figure out who's gonna do it. Okay, thank you for bringing that up. Any other questions, comments? All right, on to other. Any other? Ms. Stephenson?
I'm sorry.
Oh, Ms. Clapham.
Man, I feel like losing my voice and I have a lot to say, but really briefly, just wanted to give shout out to Horace Mann and Knollwood, and thank you for welcoming me to visit. I love that Horace Mann has 4th and 5th graders give the tour, and I really enjoyed chatting with them. And it was very impromptu when I appeared, and they had 2 students right away, and I really enjoyed that and appreciated that. And just a shout out to Blackhawk. They had their goodies with Guardians, and as minimal as like the terminology sounds, I so appreciated their inclusivity of saying this wasn't donuts with dad or this with mom. It was whomever is there to support you. And then our students are supported by so many different people. And it was a really fun event. There was a lot of people there. So appreciated that. And also just to really shout out, I ran track most of my childhood and I haven't been to a track meet in a long time. And I will tell you, the number of people it takes to make a middle school track meet happen is unbelievable. Oh my gosh, it's like there's an army out there. So just a shout out to every single person who's scraping the sand and putting out hurdles and doing the gun and calling. I mean, there's so many people, and I think it's just a wonderful thing we have in this district, and I'm very acutely aware because I have a middle school student, the opportunities we have for activities for our middle schoolers at a very affordable cost that, for $75 a year, they can just try it all. And I think it's a perfect example. West Middle School right now has 150 students on the track team at this moment. So almost a third of the school is, and I just think that's wonderful that we can give kids those opportunities and we have the capacity to do that.
All right, Ms. Urban.
This is a little bit of a shameless plug for, I'm going to say it's for our civics teachers and those that teach social studies, but my 8th grader won the Elevate Civics Bee this last week and a half ago. And I think she's had just some really awesome teachers that have inspired her. And like the kids we saw here tonight, she's been put in leadership positions, and I think that's really been helpful. So yeah, I'm excited. She's going to go to state and then maybe to DC. But importantly, her essay was about school facilities and why they matter. So the apple does not fall far from the tree.
Congratulations. Thank you. Anyone else with others? All right, at this time, I will entertain a motion to go into executive session SDCL 1-25 2.1 2.3 and 2.4.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to go into executive session. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. At this time, we're officially in executive session. We'll take a 3 to 5 minute